All right, thank you for staying with us. This is TMI Live on ITV. Let's quickly take you through the second segment of our show this morning. Well, we are going to be looking at maintaining a stable financial flow or cash flow during this festive season. It will interest you to know that we have barely 37 days to Christmas. Well, I have some guests here, and they will be joining me to extend the front line of this discussion. From my immediate left is Ambassador Matthew Ohirobo. He's a public affairs analyst. Ambassador, good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
All right. And joining us in the studio this morning is Wisdom Elder. He's a financial expert. Wisdom Elder, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, viewers.
At least this time around, I didn't miss it, all right? I didn't miss it. Now, let's start with you, Ambassador Matthew.
Yes.
Time is of essence.
Yes.
And they say time waits for nobody.
Exactly.
But this is a period where people try to meet up with time. Mostly those that couldn't achieve anything from January. And this is November. They just want to beat time. Is it possible to beat time to start with?
It's not possible to beat time because November, December, in fact, all the ember months, they are like every other month.
Okay.
You know, you have 60 minutes, 1 hour, a day, a week, a month. So I will advise everyone to take it gradually because you want it to beat time, you end up, breaking down yourself. And also to be very, very careful the way we spend money this time. You see, we're looking at a situation where we want to make preparation for the Yuletide, make preparation for the New Year and all of that. Let us take it calmly because we still have 24 hours in a day and so on, so that we do not end up at the end of the day meeting up, seeing ourselves indebted,
Okay. Let's now come to Wisdom Elder. Wisdom Elder, they say time wasted cannot be recovered. But in this case, is it true?
Okay, in the case of making, streamlining your spending, or in the case of streamlining your having a...
In the case of streamlining your spending.
Okay.
And meeting up with targets.
All right, I think meeting up with targets and streamlining your spending, they are very, very important. And I think people need to understand that what makes anybody to enter into financial crisis is because they take away what is important and they always deal with what is urgent. And the market factors always make us to understand that the market factors always want us to deal with what is urgent. The adverts, the publicity, the promo, the jingles, and all the seasons always want us to deal with what is urgent and not what is important. And if you continue to live your life with what is urgent and not what is important, the important things will now become urgent and then there will be financial crisis. So the most important thing right now is to know how you can go through this period, and then successfully curtailing yourself and know the most important things that you need within this period. And I want to say that if you do not have a plan, you understand, you always fall into financial crisis. There are so many consequences of not having budget. And really, our listeners, our viewers, Nigerians should understand that people who actually fall into financial traps are people who actually operate their lives without budget.
So talking about budgeting now.
Yes.
The year is wrapping up already. We're in the 11th month. And there's this 11th hours rush, all right? I just come, people just want to just meet up, just try to get things done. So how do we now start separating from things, from what you need and things you don't need to celebrate the season? Matthew Ohirobo.
Like we talk about budgeting, expected financial income and expected expenses you tend to make. So you must make a clear demarcation between what is urgent and what is important. By the time you see things urgent and you want to meet up with them and you forgo those things that are important, you end up at the end of the day being in problem. Like we all know that the year is coming to an end. The schools will soon vacate. And next year, there will be school resumption. By the time you do all your spendings now and you forget that school will soon resume, you begin to look for ways to augment, and by the end of the day, you find yourself borrowing. So you must understand that when you align budgets, when you put down budget, you must know that you put certain money aside for those things that are important in time to come. Because especially those that are under salary, you must understand that all your expenditure must be within your expected cash, the cash that you are expecting. So that is very, very necessary and important in time.
So
like
your expenditure must be within the range of your cash flow.
Your cash flow, exactly.
Okay.
So that you don't find yourself in trouble.
Okay. Now, Wisdom Elder, in most cases, people just spend recklessly during the season, and by January, they're indebted. Some of them, they just struggle to survive. So what's your advice to such persons?
All right, my advice is simple. If you are not, there are consequences of not having a financial plan. There are consequences. Even the country we are right now, Nigeria, have already sent the budget for 2023 to the National Assembly. So every family needs to always have a financial plan. And when you say a perfect financial plan, is a plan that captures all your expenditures with respect to your income. That's a perfect financial plan. All your expenditures includes your rent, includes your groceries, that's the food and household, all the household items, includes school fees, includes utility bills and all. And all these things are streamlined according to percentage. From the percentage of the first to the last is streamlined to make it 100% at the balance point of your budget. Do you understand? So that your medical, probably, let's say your medical that is 5%, your household that is 25%, and then probably school fees 10 or 15%. So when you have a streamlined budget like this, it tells you the kind of school your children should go to. It tells you the kind of house you should live. And it tells you the area that you need to spend this period. You can't be spending money for rent this period. And then when you enter January, you start praying for divine, I don't know how Nigerians plan, or probably you want to take yourself to another level that you do not belong to within this period. Is uncalled for. But when you have a streamlined budget, probably your medical that has been 5% from January till now, you've not actually touched medical. Then if you want to take yourself out, you can plunge into anything from your medical, and then you can use it. But you cannot touch every other thing. So the balance in your budgeting is very, very important. The balance to your budgeting is very, very important. If you don't live a balanced budget life, then there will be crisis. Then you always go into debt in order to acquire things. Then you always spend beyond your means. You get into a shop, take for example, our grocery, our supermarkets, our shopping malls. They are planned in such a way that you must part with the money you never planned to part with.
That's if you visit them.
Yes. When you get into our shopping malls, take for example, our viewers listening to me now, get into a shopping mall tomorrow. The most important thing you wanted to buy will not be at a very close place. You will see them. They will be placed at strategic locations that before you see them, you must have seen so many things that are very, very appealing, but were not in your plan. And maybe from there, you might be picking those things before you get to the ones that brought you to the shopping mall. And at the end of the day, you get the one that brought you to the shopping mall. When you're about to pay, if you have your kids, you see what they place around the cashier place, the teller place, and then all those things, kids will want to have them, and you want to give one or two to them, and all. They plan these things. So the market structure, people in business plan how to take your money. Anyone doing adverts today, putting a beautiful girl or a beautiful guy, putting an interesting celebrity or comedian, Those things are structured to collect what
But
you
that
have.
that won't override the place of advertisement.
No, it does
Mr.
not
Melvin.
override the place of
Yes.
advertisement. But
Advertisement is
we are
very
saying,
important in
yeah,
some
very
cases.
important. But we are saying that you have to understand that you need to coordinate your own personal economy.
Okay.
Your own economy should not be dictated by the economy that is happening outside. When you go anywhere, let your economy personally dictate what you take. There's fuel scarcity right now, and some people want to measure up with fuel scarcity. It's not necessary. You know your budget for the month for transportation, and fuel scarcity has exceeded your budget for you to fill your tank. Then there are other means to move, for crying out loud. No one has said you must go and buy the same fuel at hopefully 250 or thereabout.
I'll get back to you, Wisdom Elder.
Yeah.
Let's now come to Ambassador Matthew.
Yeah.
Now, peer pressure is one of the issues we used to face this season,
Yes.
where you find children crying and telling their parents, well, I must get a new clothes for the season. And to an extent, women, in a way, they are not really helping matters. They have a way of telling you, so and so person has, they've gotten clothes for their kids. What are you waiting for? And deep down the man's heart, he knows that his financial capacity won't be able to carry some of those expenses. Now, what is your advice to some of these people?
Yes, this boils down to family units.
Okay.
So every family, the father, the mother, and the children, they must understand themselves. Because without that understanding, there is the tendency for comparison. That look at that man out there, this is what he did for the wife, and all of that. And even the children, you know, bringing pressure of my friend brought this to school, my friend, the father got him or her a big handset and all of that. So you must, it boils down to understanding in the home. You let the father let the mother and the children know that this is what we get, and this is what we are planning for. You know, like we were discussing just now, that euphoria of the season, you know, people wanting to catch up with the fun, you must bring it down. Because without that, you will find yourself in problem. Because by the time you are buying, you are consuming more than you expect, there is crisis already. So there must be understanding in the family unit to get everybody carried along, so that we do not find ourselves in problem.
Okay. Now, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Yes.
Now, Wisdom Elder, to you, what is the purpose of the celebration,
The purpose of what?
the festive season?
The purpose of the festive season is to show love, is to reunite with family members, and then to express love, and to also have a reflection. At least the festive season, Christmas, depicts that Jesus Christ was born this period. Yes, so the purpose for the birth of Christ is to bring love to the world, to rescue mankind from sin and all. And that purpose actually is not actually being practiced. I'm sorry to say, most of us want to celebrate the birth of Christ contrary to, to the direction, as if the man that you are celebrating his birthday has said this and this is what he needs. And probably some people will say, though, what you need is not enough. Let us extend it. Let's do this and let's do all that. So I think that's the purpose is love, expression, bringing family and friends together. And if you watch the period that Jesus was giving birth to, there was a kind of a recall. People were coming back, people were gathering and coming for census and so. So families used to come together this period and to harmonize themselves. But I will tell you, that actually is a concept. That is not a principle. That is not supposed to be binding to anybody.
Okay.
Yes, as far as Christians are concerned, we are not binded by the time of the year. We are not binded by the month. We are not binded by day or anything. We are only binded by the Word of God. And if the Word of God is what guides us, then this other aspect should not be a challenge. We are not obligated whatsoever to follow any order as far as the season is concerned. We are just on our
Matthew,
own.
you share this
You
thought.
know, there is a disconnect somewhere.
Okay.
You know, as the year is coming to an end, first of all, we give thanks to God that has seen us through all through the year. But even when we say we want to celebrate Christ and all of that, first of all, the way people want to even celebrate it is out of the line. And that is what is even causing the problem. People want to buy this, want to catch fun and all of that against the will, the principle of Christ that we say we are celebrating. First of all, there is an argument about the date and all of that that is not in the Bible and all of that. But now, the Christ you say you want to celebrate, you are going more worldly, even in trying to say you want to celebrate him. You understand? People do a lot of immoralities, even steal to get money.
Just
so
to celebrate.
to celebrate. And stealing, fornication, immorality, they are against the will of who we say want to. So who are we deceiving? So the something is that let us love one another, fear God, keep his commandment, so that we actually portray the attitude, the character of who we say we are celebrating. And again, to give thanks to God, having passed through horrible, look at what is happening in our economy today, security, and all of that. So first of all is to give thanks to God that seen us through all this far, and to appreciate ourselves, not to do those things that are not convenient and say we are celebrating Christ.
Okay, talking about the economy, Wisdom Elder, the economy is biting hard. The bag of rice is about 45,000 now. And that's basically someone's take-home pay. So how can one now start disciplining himself, him or herself, trying to maintain a stable cash flow?
All right, I want to say this. Many Nigerians are self-employed. Many Nigerians are not salary earners. So, and is a very big challenge for a person who is self-employed, whose cash flow is not determined by a specific amount that should come into his account every month. It is very difficult for you to start telling the person you can live a financially planned life. It's very, because we live sporadically, we can begin to take things out of proportion. But I want to say, if you are not going to be living a life of budget, you are going to be having financial crisis. Take, for example, I want to come to studio today, and then maybe I had a challenge trying to come, and I want to run my way through, run contrary to traffic in order to get here. What if I get crushed? Do you understand? So my coming to studio on time is urgent, is demanding, but my safe arrival is important. Do you understand? So if you don't know that next year school fees, next year rent, and all the financial expenditures that you're going to face next year are more important than the urgency of the day, then you have a lot and lots of challenges.
All right, thank you so much,
Yes.
Wisdom Elder. Thank you so much, Ambassador Matthew, finding time. I'm afraid this is where we are going to be drawing the curtain on CMI Thursday morning edition. I am Ijene Kumose Daniel. I want to thank you, and on behalf of all the crew members, for being with us. Up next is Business Rendezvous with Favor Erewhon.